Okay, on the downhill slope. Right now what I'm doing is getting the catch can set up in there. This bracket leaves that catch can pretty wobbly. You know, so any vibration, that thing will just sit there and wobble, which I don't really like. So thinking about tying that into the head, bolting off of here, keeping that solid, you know, instead of that harmonic vibration, which isn't good in a motor. Good for anything metal, tears it apart. And I don't like that bracket, and it just don't look good, so I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to tie that into the head, try and clean up my ugly welds a little bit, see if I can't make that bracket look good in there, and, you know, maybe go black instead of aluminum color. I don't know. So my cables, my shifting cables, I talked to the guy, California push pull, and he's going to ship them out Monday or Tuesday, which is just a couple days from now, and he's going to shorten them up and use the high heat casing around them, you know, which is good for just over 300 degrees, plus the fiberglass wrap that I use on there, that sleeve, and, you know, shortening the cables so they're not bowing out into the exhaust. Anyway, hopefully that combination will keep my shifting cables safe. Get everything buttoned up, put some oil and fluids and everything, and my axles, I'm not going to use those ones I have because the CV joints are kind of bad, especially one of them, so I ordered a couple of rebuilt ones. The funny thing is, the FedEx truck crashed on the freeway and spilt all the freight, so my axles will be delayed for a couple days, I'm sure. I pick them up off the freeway. Alrighty, there's the catch cans. I think this is final product here. I swear I've changed that thing like 4 times. So, a little bit different bracket, painted black instead of aluminum. We've got it come around and tie into the head on each side. And 2 different catch cans from the same company, one of them with 1 inlet, this one has 2 inlets. And I got these both feeding that way. This one's going to run to this valve cover. This one's going to come across, bend over, up and over the intake, and then make a bend into here. And then this one for the transaxle, I'll just drop that down over and then across this way, tie into that nipple there on the transaxle. So, be good to have that done. That took a while. So I think I'll be able to finish up, put those tubes in, get those done, and then finally be able to start getting the rest of the stuff on there. There's a bracket I'm making for the speed sensor. I just welded a washer onto this existing bracket. That'll bolt onto the tranny. and I'll cut this excess off on the other side over here, but that'll bolt on just like that. And that thing will go in there like so, bolt in, tie together with that hole right there, hold that in place. So that's what I'm up to now. Got the tubes done. I haven't connected them here yet. Got it tied into the breathers. Got a tube over here for this valve cover. Comes up across, and it's, you know, plumbing rules, you know, so it goes downhill. We don't want any traps. And over here to this side, and then this one will run across to that valve cover. And believe it or not, what I'm going to use for this, like an outside seal for electrical. It's like a heat shrink, and it's got glue in it, and it just dries hard as a rock and glues it all together. Makes a real good connection for something like that. Anyway, that turned out pretty good. I'm happy with that. I'll get that speed sensor set up. Keep moving. Looking good. Got everything pretty much done. Got the intake back on there. All the vacuum nipples plugged up. Oil in the transaxle. I still got to put oil in the motor. And next week the axles, and I can't think. It's been a long day. But anyway, the axles will be here. Oh, and the cables, the shifting cables. And I'll tie them up underneath, get them secured. And that's kind of it. It's about done. Got the exhaust tied down in there. Kind of had to wrestle it into position, but I think it should be good. And I got to find a spot to put the brackets right here, which will tie it together just a little bit more. But yeah, I had to fight that quite a bit. Come up with a couple different combinations to get that in there. So, and I got my cables from California Push-Pull. I sent my other ones back, which will be good because you know, I kind of got a spare now if I ever need it. But these are high heat, the highest heat coating they had, and they're, I think one of them's 3.5 inches shorter and the other one's 4.5 inches shorter of what the supplied ones were. So I'll get those in there. And I got my axles. Which I'll take those apart and put the Corvette outer on there. And I'll paint that black, make it look nice, keep it from rusting. There's the brackets that hook up there on the exhaust. I'll need to tie in down here somewhere for that to hook on. There's my list of stuff I got left to do. Getting down close. I got the my clutch pedal hooked up. Got the you know, the slave cylinder bled, so I got a clutch working. So after I get the exhaust on, man, there's not much left to do. Put the shift cables in, tie the cables down underneath, get the axles swapped over with the CV joint there, and then put those in, and at that point should be a runner. So we'll see what happens. There's the exhaust brackets. The sucker's in there solid. Looks good. I put some high heat black paint on there, and then I made a piece of iron, you know, same stock as the tail brackets made out of, bent it over. It's a pretty good spot. Come out pretty clean like that. You know, just level with the top of the tail bracket. And I didn't want to have to paint that thing again, so I just drilled some holes and bolted it rather than welded it up. But that's a good spot for that thing. And I've got adjustment both ways to go up or down on it. But that's in there nice and solid. I like it. Notice how both sides came out level to end up coming out level here. That's what I like to see when a plan comes together, so hopefully the rest of it comes together. Next on the list is putting the shifting cables in there, hooking them up. It's going to be kind of weird being able to sit in there and push on the clutch and actually have the clutch on the transaxle work and be able to shift through some gears. Okay, this is turning out pretty good so far. I got the cables hooked up to the shifter, and essentially I hooked, you know, to find the location here, find as much range, you know, match the range with the shifter as the throw in the cable. And on this one I had to move it forward just as much as I could. In fact, I hacked off some of the threads here to get that up in here as much as I could to match that range. And then this other one, nothing special. That one kind of in the center of the threads, popped up in there. And now I got this sitting in a neutral position, you know, center of this direction, and this way where that notch is, you know, and that's going to be right into third and fourth. And that's kind of the neutral position of the shifter. And then when I come back here, plug these in, that neutral position ends up being, you know, the same spot on my cables right here. So I got throw equal length in and equal length out, sitting where it is, both cables sitting in the neutral position on my shifter. So that's looking good. It came out nice and even like it should. So when I thread this in here, tighten that down, you know, and then this has a pin in it. Pretty much all transmissions have a neutral position. You put that pin in there, and that's where you want to lock into your cables at a neutral position on your shifter. So it's all matching up good. There we go, completed chassis, untested. You know, if anybody's following what I'm doing and copying what I'm doing, you know, I don't know if any of this is going to work. So, should be good though. Got a lot of good parts on it. The guys have made special for this thing. And you know, my goals pretty much came up to what I wanted it to be. Nice and clean, simple, everything hidden. So it looks pretty good. I'll do a couple little more things. I think I'm going to upgrade the shock mount still. But all said and done, I think I built it the way I wanted it. So I don't think I'm going to have to tear anything down and redo it. So we're hoping for the best. Still haven't fired up the motor yet. Hoping for the best on that. Anything could go wrong still. That's the part that sucks. I've been there, done that too. I've spent a lot of time on cars and just have everything go to hell. So I think now I'm going to get the tires on it, drop it down. I got to get the body on it yet. Check the clearance around the wheel wells. Fire up the motor. Do some break-in stuff, but it's ready to drive. Shift gears, clutch, brakes. So I'm happy. I'm finally to this point. Yeah, so that went pretty good. Just trying to keep the RPMs up, get some strong oil pressure, going through the heat cycle. Kind of a break-in procedure type thing. Everything seems pretty good. No leaks so far. Got a leaky slave cylinder for the clutch, but that will be easy to service at any time, so I'll have to iron that out, see why that thing's leaking brake fluid out there. Got a weird smell on this side. I'm thinking it's some of that insulation blanket burning. Not quite sure, but I'm thinking that's what that is. It's kind of a yucky smell. And I have yet to see the fan kick on, so that may be a tuning issue to get in there, and difference between turn on the, like the high or the low fan. I jumpered over where the relay is and it kicks on, so anyway, I'll get that ironed out. So I never run it up above like 200. I'll kick it off. Keep it from overheating, but everything seems good to go. I need to get it down, get it dyno tuned, make sure I got a good tune on it where it'll run good. And time to get it painted. Look how low that thing is. When you get in there and sit down, it's like sitting down on a curb on the side of the street. You get in and lay down on a curb. That's how low it is. Really low. It's probably 4.5 inches right there. Yeah, we'll see how it looks with the body on it, whether it needs to go up or down. Definitely not down anymore.